Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Python interview questions. That is, can you explain how to handle exceptions in Python? Let me answer. So before I explain how to handle the exceptions in Python, let me first explain what are exceptions. Exceptions are nothing but runtime errors. What are exceptions? Exceptions are nothing but runtime errors, guys. Okay. When you run a program and you're going to get an error in the output, such kind of errors are nothing but the exceptions, guys. Okay. But when you're writing the code, you're not going to get the error. But when you run the code in the output, you're going to get the error. While the program is running, you're going to get the error. Such kind of errors or runtime errors are known as exceptions. Let me practically demonstrate one example for you, which will give you an error during the runtime. That is nothing but an exception. So here, I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to assign this variable with a value 10 and I'm going to divide this 10 by 0. In mathematics, this operation is not possible. Okay, dividing a number by 0 is not possible in mathematics. Same applies for the programming languages, guys. So they also will not allow. But I'm not getting any error. When I'm writing this code, I'm not getting any error here. Okay, but when I run this code, I'm going to get a runtime error in the output while the program is running, which is nothing but a runtime error, which is nothing but an exception. Okay, run this code, you'll get an exception here. You see, a runtime error is coming, which is nothing but an exception, guys. The type of the runtime error we got is zero division error, which is nothing but an exception, one of the exception in Python. Okay, the reason for the exception is you are trying to divide a number by 0. Okay, so what is the problem with the exceptions? There's one problem with the exception, guys. Okay, at the line 2, if you are going to get this runtime error, the program will stop abruptly at the line 2 itself. The remaining statements will not be executed, even though there are a lot of statements after this line 2, they will not be executed, guys. Okay, this line, okay, end of this program, at the end of this program or something, you see this statement will not be executed, guys. Okay, no matter how one line or multiple lines you have, doesn't matter. If the exception occurs here, if the runtime error occurs at the line 2, you see at the line 2 we got this exception, the remaining lines will not be executed. Okay, the program will halt there only, the stop there only. You see, only exception details came, none of these print statements got printed in the output. The reason is the exception will stop the program. Okay, there itself where it occurred. That's the reason, guys. Okay, there is a situation where you still want to continue the program irrespective of getting this kind of runtime error. In such cases, we have to handle this exception. Okay, the line 2 is throwing you an exception, guys. That exception, if you handle, the program will continue the execution, guys. The remaining statements also will be executed. So why we have to handle the exceptions? Okay, why we have to handle the exceptions? If in case there an exception occurs, the runtime error occurs, the program will halt, the program will stop. But if you still want to continue the execution of the code or program, irrespective of getting an exception or not, then we have to handle that exception, that possible exceptions, we have to handle them. How to handle the exceptions in Python? In Python, we have try except blocks. Okay, try except blocks using which we can handle the exceptions. Let me practically demonstrate that for you. Okay, which is nothing but the answer for this question, guys. What I'm trying to explain now is nothing but the answer for this question. Explain how to handle the exceptions in Python. How to handle using try and except blocks. Okay. Now you understood what is an exception, why we have to handle the exception, what will happen if you don't handle the exception. Now how to handle the exception using the statement which is possible, which is having a possibility of exception, throwing an exception. I'll put under the try block like this, and here I'll write except. Okay. In Java we have catch block, guys. Okay. So in Python, we have to use except. Okay, except block. So if an exception is thrown here, the control will immediately come to the except block. Here, after except keyword, we have to write the type of the exception that we have to handle. Okay, here the type of the exception is zero division error. I'll copy from the output, guys, and paste it here. Okay, and here, if this particular exception is thrown, and if you're coming to the proper except block, here I'll write down print. Okay, we cannot divide a number by 0. Okay, like this I'll print it out. Okay, instead of stopping the program, right, this particular statement will be printed and the program will continue the execution. Okay, the exception will come here. This exception is not going to stop the program, and rather the exception will go here to the except block and the statement will be printed and the program will continue the execution. Okay, run this. You see, we cannot divide a number by 0. End of this program, end of, you see, irrespective of getting an exception, the program execution is continued. So this is how, guys, we have to handle the exceptions in Python using the try and except blocks. So hope, guys, you got the answer for this question. So that's all for this session. In the next session, I'm going to answer another Python interview question for you. Till then, see you. Bye-bye.